Coming to you live but in Leeuwen from the plush and palatial confines of the Meeple's Anonymous cottage compound, the workers are placed. The area is controlled. It's time for the Meeple's Anonymous audio podcast.
Welcome to the Maples Anonymous audio podcast. I'm Ross.
G.
Scoop.
Kayleigh.
Kayleigh's in the show.
What's been happening?
Not much, man.
No?
No.
What about you guys?
Work.
Yeah.
Work.
Working games.
Oh, don't.
Yeah. Work. Yeah, life has been getting in the way, so we're recording this episode 2 days after we recorded the last one. So we probably haven't played an awful lot of games, but hey, we're here and we're going to talk.
Oh, we've got some games to talk about. So.
Yeah, we
for
do.
the space of 2 days.
It's not bad.
That's alright.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
And it's not like we've just played the list through once.
No, totally not.
So, what have we been playing this week?
We can start off with some Night of the Grand Octopus, actually. Night of the Grand Octopus, I think we spoke about it very briefly last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because I just bought it.
yeah, we'd only played a couple of games.
Aye.
Night of the Grand Octopus, you're all cultists vying for tokens to raise Cthulhu with. And it's done a sort of simultaneous actions, location selection thing on secret discs, and you flip it over and reveal it, sort of like Rex, and then you're off. And if you're blocked by certain people's offspring, then nothing happens, or you lose a hit point, or stuff like that.
That's pretty much it, man.
Yeah.
But it's great fun.
Yeah, a little bit of negotiating here and there when it's just the two cultists going head to head.
There's that really kind of make a deal aspect to it.
Yeah, the
Which
negotiation is really
fun.
strong. Really strong in the game. I really enjoy the how much banter you can actually have with. Please don't go there. I'll go there if you go there, and then you're lying through your teeth because you're not going there at all. You're not even going anywhere near that.
You kept saying, I think I'll go to location number 3.
And that's why my dial never went to 3.
Never gone where you say you're going to go, Skull. Big fat lies.
Well, yeah. Well, it's a bluff. It's not a lie.
Big fat lies.
It's a lie.
It was a lie. It was absolutely a lie. Yeah. It's great fun, though. I mean, I said last week I prefer it to King of Tokyo, or I might prefer it to King of Tokyo, and I totally do. I
think
definitely do.
It's just more interesting than Yahtzee.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, everybody's for everyone to have their turn at the same time is far more enjoyable than sitting waiting on people rolling dice all the time. Which is like the only letdown I'd say for something like Bang. Is that with Bang the dice game anyway, with large numbers of players, it can get kind of uninvolving.
Long waiting time.
Yeah. Well, you can just feel like you're not involved at all in the game. But Night of the Grand Octopus really succeeds in involving everybody continuously until you're dead.
Which is the most likely outcome, as we've noticed so far.
Yeah, more likely to death win by death rather than by points, but it has been won both ways.
Yeah, well, no, I think it's all come down to like tiebreakers and stuff as well.
Yeah.
A couple of times we've played it. Yeah.
I've only played it once. So.
Well, I outright won that last one.
Yep.
And we shared a win up until you took it just
on the way the ties break. But it's really good for that where there's that the different tokens have an inherent value because of where they are. So if you're playing to that as well, and everybody's aware of that, then it can get really quite cutthroat.
Yep.
So and that's always super fun.
Totally.
So I think it's an excellent little filler game, and it far surpasses Yellow's other big game, which is probably King of Tokyo. And in my estimation anyway, maybe I'll, if you disagree, please write in and tell me why I'm wrong, but no, I think it's excellent and the production's fantastic.
It's gorgeous.
Artwork's awesome on it.
It's really cutesy, but really actually
Dials
quite
are really
good.
stunning.
Dark,
Really
but yet
sturdy.
funny.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up the colour palette, Ross, when we were playing. and it's a beautiful color palette. It's very much the same kind of poster colors as King of Tokyo, actually, but it works better with this theme, I think.
I'd
than
say
it
the
does
colours in Night of the Grand Octopus are even kind of like a bit more vibrant than King of Tokyo. It looks a bit more interesting.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
But it's a great game. It's a great opener.
Definitely. It's probably one of the best openers I've played in the past couple of months anyway, actually, come to think of it. Because a lot of the lighter games we've been playing recently have been really good, stuff like Skull and the Grizzled and things like that. But when it gets to other stuff, not so much, like the Bloody Inn, which...
Still not played it.
I've played it twice now, and it's okay. It's okay.
Aye.
It's just okay.
I remember you saying last week. So you played it since?
Yep, we played it last night actually. It's just there's just no real depth to it. It's very random and
That's a shame. I had really high hopes for it actually.
Me
It's got a great skin.
It's got a great theme, a great presence about it. The graphic design's lovely. It looks good and it's really funny. Like it's really dark, but it's got a sense of humour to it. It's quite light in terms of some of the graphic design choices.
Oh yeah.
But there's not really much there in it. I don't think.
It needs some meat in its bones.
I could do an expansion to really cement some of the tactical stuff you can do in the game.
Yeah.
Or a kind of second edition, actually, where there's less randomization in the cards and that kind of thing, because you always take a certain number of cards out the deck randomly at the beginning of the game. So, yeah.
Why?
Just because it's just the way that they've numbered the deck. So there's always a set number of cards coming out of it. So you're never really sure what you're going to get and how you're going to be able to deal with it later on. So, yeah, you're kind of subject to that in a lot of ways. So while you might be shooting for this one strategy, all the other cards you need to fulfill it are out the deck. So you're kind of stuffed. So as a light little opener, it's okay, but it's certainly not a patch on anything like Night of the Grand Octopus.
Yeah.
But because it is just a little one-dimensional card game, and even some of the ways that you execute your actions aren't very interesting. Like all of the cards have a rank, and basically to bribe a guest rank 3, you discard 3 cards and pull him in.
Yeah.
Right. So it's, and every action you do in the game's that discarding cards to fulfill a rank quota and then completing the action. But I don't think it really pans out to be interesting in any single one of those actions. Like
It's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, there's some funny stuff you can do. Like, I'm going to pull in my brigadier, and I'm going to get another brigadier, and I'm going to use him to kill the other brigadier, and then I'll bury him, and that's quite funny. But there's
We have
no
a story that's funny as I suppose the gameplay. It's more you kind of constructing the story and the film as such.
I would agree with
in
that.
your mind.
I think you're right, because but that's a lot of player involvement, and not necessarily. We played it really late last night. It was the very last game we played before we kind of rounded up, and we were all just a bit like, we'd just finished playing a different game that was amazing, and really deep and satisfying, and really lots of strategy. And then we kind of played this, and it just felt like kind of slapping stuff against the wall. It felt like amusement or an activity more than an actual game.
Like eating a mild cheese after a blue.
Aye. Actually, that's a really apt metaphor for this, actually.
I know.
She's like, I don't understand.
And I
Does
never
not
want
compute.
It's like having a pint of Carling after having an innocent gun. It's like that.
Aye.
It's like, what is this? What is this even? Like this isn't even a beer.
What is this piss water?
I am now a craft beer
Wench!
snob. Bring me my fine ale. But yeah, the game we played before that was Power Grid. Oh my god, it's so fucking good. And I'm the first person to swear on the podcast, so I apologise.
We were doing so well.
I know we were doing so well, but Power Grid was.
Were we?
to. I think it's the longest we've gone without swearing.
Yeah.
I think we were doing pretty good.
Oh.
I don't think Em did say fuck.
Never did that. I said piss like 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, but that's like PG.
Yeah.
You get
What?
Aye, that's
Aye.
PG. Yeah. PG.
Piss in the PG.
Piss is totally PG.
Piss is PG, man.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Shit is when you're getting into like a 12, maybe a 15.
Yeah, I mean-
the occasional use in a PG.
Yeah, you can drop one or two shits in there. I mean, Ghostbusters have got quite a few shits in it.
Yeah, Ghostbusters has a lot of shits. Does it not even have a fuck in it at some point?
Yeah, Rick Moranis and Sigourney Weaver get it on.
Oh,
Ba-dum.
that's bad.
Of course it is.
That was bad.
Welcome to my world.
But yeah, you can get away with piss in a PG.
All right, fair enough.
Aye.
Cool.
Anywho, Power Grid.
Yes, Power Grid.
Power Grid.
Freedom and Freeze's Power Grid.
PG,
Where you're
Power Grid.
PG.
Hey.
Yeah, well done. Nice tie-in. But it's just great. The auction mechanic's really cool, and how you're balancing out what power stations you've actually got, and how efficient they are against the resources available to you, and how they're priced on the market is. Oh man, it's just there's so much going on in it. It's tremendous. I love it. It's the first kind of heavy Euro that we've played in a while, where I've been like, actually, I want to play it again. I want to play it tonight. Like I'd play it again, like
easily.
the now, if we really could, because I just feel like I'm getting the hang of it.
Aye.
It's very mathy though. Cammy was even using a calculator at one point to kind of just work out what he was doing. And I think he got quite salty because I beat him without doing anything. Like,
Cammy, salty?
I think he was maybe just a wee bit salty, but it was.
It's just a wee bit, just a little bit, you know, like the full tub of salt.
Nah, just a full tub of salt.
You know, just standard cami salt.
Yeah, aye, standard fare Cammy salt. But it was it's cracking, and I can't wait to play it with you guys.
Nah, I'm looking forward to playing it. It's cool. I had another read at the rulebook, and it looks great.
It is.
I can't wait to play it.
It's phenomenal.
It's like most good Euros. It's simple but yet deep.
Aye, it's a bit of a pain to teach because of some of the way turn order works in the game. The person with the most houses starts the auctions, and then it's actually the last player that starts every other phase of the game.
Yeah.
So it gets a wee bit like, and then there's some weird kind of janky stuff you have to do on the first round of the game as well. You have to kind of reconfigure player order once people have bought a plant and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really help that you're not setting up a natural rhythm on that first turn. So that's always awkward. But once you're through that, it's plain sailing for the most part.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
And it's really strong. And even some of the sort of slight area control mechanisms in there on the board as well, how that transitions is fantastic. It's just a perfect design in a lot of ways. Aye. But speaking of perfect design, I mean, the Grizzled, I think, is a perfect design, and we're still playing it.
Oh yeah.
This game will not die.
Nah, it won't.
It refuses to go away. Played again last night. Andy, Cammy, G and
Myself,
I.
yep.
Yeah. And we lost.
Oh,
So close though.
it's because I wasn't there.
It was.
So it's like, I find 4 is a tough number to beat it. I think we've kind of got it done with 3 players,
Aye.
but when we introduce that extra player, that 4th player, it seems to just get us every time. No quite got it with the hard knocks,
No.
and I think with that extra draw, it just it makes it that wee bit harder, and we're failing.
I think you're absolutely right. That +1 card on every round is actually a really big deal.
Oh yeah.
And when you get it to the 5th player as well, is even harder, especially when you're playing with people who haven't played it as many times, so who aren't as familiar as with the right way of playing
Like your
those hard knocks and
Mhm.
things, and when they're supposed to come out. And because the first one we had was Andy's Fragile, was it?
Yeah.
That's a horrible one where it's like what is it, that a support tile gets taken out of the game or something.
Randomly.
No, no.
Oh no, you're.
No, it was a random choice for his, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't as bad as it could
That's
have been.
panicked. Is Fragile no, like, everybody else can't withdraw unless...
That's
No,
it.
no, I had that about halfway through.
That was horrible though.
Yeah.
But it was one of those situations that kind of arise in the game quite often, whereby there's 2 really tough hard knocks and the other ones, and they're just playing off each other in a really difficult way, and whatever other ones you've got out in front are just making it even worse.
Yeah.
Totally. So do you think that player familiarity with the Grizzled, like if everybody playing it is really familiar with it, do you think it would be a breeze?
I wouldn't think it would be a breeze. I think it'd be a lot easier. Yeah, I think there's definitely a proper way of playing those hard knocks in a correct order, and being aware that you shouldn't play some of them in the first maybe 5 turns of the game.
No.
Like there's some of them that are just no, just flat out no,
Aye,
unless
I mean,
especially-
if you've got a mute, like if you're a mute, then fine, do
Aye.
that, because that's no a huge deal. It's not
No.
affecting anybody else. It's not really affecting anything that you can do.
Except a
Yep.
speech.
I would say
except a speech. But then I think even a mute's fine, because
You can get-
everybody else has got something they can do. Like everybody's got your back.
Yeah.
I've held on to a mute for like an entire game before.
yeah.
very
Like,
peaceful
had it-
game.
Aye, just chilling.
No, I think it definitely would be easier if with more people who have played the game a lot
Aye.
more, and that's just because you can kind of develop a lot of. I don't mean to say like non-verbal cues or something like that. I just mean more a kind of method of communicating what you're unable to do. with-
Aye,
Aye.
like if you can, if you get to ken somebody is sitting there, like with a bit more experience, if somebody's sitting there with 3 kills, it's like, right, and they're just saying, I need to withdraw again,
Yep.
again. They need help.
Yep.
Like, and sometimes when you, less experienced players, they don't necessarily pick up on that.
I think you're dead right.
Like you guys, I would feel that you would kind of pick up on that and go, all right, we need to sort out this situation.
Yep.
Aye.
I was in that situation for the majority of that game, and
Aye.
it was all too late by the
Aye.
time Cammy was the one to kind of point it out and go, oh crap, you've had 3 cards for ages and you've not been able to play any of them. Sorry, like we should
Aye.
have done something, but it wasn't his fault. There was other stuff going on.
Yeah.
And
That's
that
just the way the game is.
yeah,
Aye, it's hard to coordinate that sometimes. You know.
it can be really difficult as well to kind of keep on top of what everybody else has got
Aye.
and how they're playing.
Aye, it's easy to get really worried about what's in your own hand.
Yeah, well, that's why it goes back to that sort of reflection of the real psychological traumas of warfare and what camaraderie is in that situation, where it's you're so consumed by what you're doing yourself that you can't focus on anyone else, or one person's unable to say what they're dealing with, and they've got a hand just full of rubbish, but they can't articulate it. They're not allowed to step out of that male bravado, the male pride,
Aye.
and actually say, "Oh God, I've got 3 knight cards, and there's a knight on the thing, and every round I could just literally kill us with all the cards we've got in my hand every time." So yeah, I think you're absolutely right, man. That it will get a lot easier once everybody's really familiar with the game.
Aye, totally. I really like it, man. It's
Beautiful.
it's one of the best games we've played for a while.
Yeah.
One of them,
Oh, definitely.
Aye.
because
For
we've
it
played
being-
a lot of great games recently.
So simple, like,
Yep.
and its appearance anyway, like
Yeah.
like Power Grid or something. It's quite grandiose, sitting
Yep,
on the
huge.
table. It's got a presence, but like Grizzled is just a hand of cards.
Yep. A simple wee
And
card
2
game.
piles, and you're like, all right, don't expect much, but then it's bloody awesome.
Aye.
Yeah,
Aye.
I love card games. I think a lot of the best games we've played have been card games.
They're so
It's-
clever.
it's
like,
the
to
only-
coordinate that.
It's the only card game I've ever played that's actually emotionally deep.
It's manages to pull that off somehow, which is really it's super impressive in so many ways. Really,
Yeah.
you're right. I think it's one of my candidates for Game of the Year. Like, I know it came out last year, but I didn't get it till this year. So tough.
So on
Amazing-
Sco's
amazing
calendar.
now,
Yeah,
Game of
well,
the
that's
year.
it. But this is the thing with a lot of board games is that we won't see the likes of Captain Sonar that get released at Gen Con or Seafall even for some time because just the way that they filter through to Britain.
No.
And I'm not paying the extortion. I don't have enough money in the world to
Yeah.
pay to get Seafall just now.
Aye, totally.
I'm not paying customs on it.
Aye, because sometimes the shipping is like more expensive than the game.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Yeah, and it's just not worth it. But that's, I mean, Seafall's obviously up there because it's Rob Davio, it's a legacy game, and it's like, well, I'm dying for it, to be honest. But, I can't wait. But yeah, that's what we've been playing this week.
Oh, we should totally do a Game of the Year in episode 52.
Oh, we're gonna. We are gonna.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Aye, we'll do that. Yeah.
But there is one game that has stood above the rest.
And hasn't it by feck?
Oh,
Yes.
aye.
That's the game of the week, pal.
Isla Skye.
Skye.
And we're not
Holy
Cue
shit.
bagpipes.
cue bagpipes. Yeah. It's amazing.
It's absolutely fantastic. Like straight away, you could tell it was like the Kennerspiel winner.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You could tell it was
Yeah.
worthy of that title
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah,
As
that,
soon as you'd played, my first question was, like, can you tell it's a Kennerspiel winner? And you were like, oh, aye.
aye.
Through.
It definitely it sits
As soon as
alongside Istanbul
Aye,
perfectly. Like those two are so complementary of each other in so many regards.
Aye, totally.
Yeah.
As soon as I read the rule book,
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit.
This is cool.
This is going to
Yeah.
be fucking awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
And I love the theme of it. Like, just being a Highlander.
there can be only one!
Oh, it's loose as all fuck. The
Aye.
theme's loose as fuck.
Oh, but it's great.
It's great. It's great for us to get what old accents on in that, you know what I'm saying, pal, you know?
It seems to be something, like, it doesn't matter what comes out of Scotland. We're all, like, ginger-headed, wearing kilts, running about the Highlands, chasing haggis and playing pipes. Like,
It's a very stereotypical presentation, really, but
Yeah.
Aye,
if we were
totally,
to do
but-
that to anybody else, it would be fine, but with
Aye,
Scotland,
it'd be
we're like, yes!
we relish in our stereotypes.
But to do that way anywhere in Africa, it would be called racist.
Well, it probably
anywhere,
would be, though.
Totally. Well, it's actually racist, isn't it?
There's a little.
Aye.
Aye, but we'll just like,
Racial
that's
stereotyping.
fine.
I'm against Isla Skye now, I don't like it.
I've changed my mind.
No, it's actually fucking awesome.
It is.
Yeah.
So Isle of Skye is a kind of Carcassonne-alike where it's a tile placement game, but the twist is you're building your own little kingdom apart from everyone else's. It's yours and yours alone, and you're drawing 3 tiles in one go out of a big sack of dream tiles, like sack of hope. Like,
Satchel of Fate.
the satchel of fate. Yes, I
What does
prefer
say?
that to the sack
the
of hope.
cloth of choice. We were making up names for the bag earlier. It was
That's
great.
good. That's good. I like that. But,
Hold all of hope.
the whole doll of hope. You got me there, man.
Is it good, man?
You got me there, yeah.
I quite like it.
Really? Oh, my God.
I'm gonna have to recover for a minute there.
Aye, so you draw these 3 tiles at the Satchel of Fate, or
Yeah.
the Hold all of Hope,
Yeah.
and you place them in front of your player screen. And then behind your player screen, you secretly assign a gold value to 2 of the tiles,
Yeah.
and set a discard token behind the tile you want to discard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give it the axe.
And then everybody reveals what prices they've set, and then starting for the first player, you can go around and buy a tile from another player.
Yeah.
And
What I like about it, because when you told me that initially, I was like, oh, you can just drive the prices up and make loads of money, that's fine. But you then, if nobody buys, if you've got a tile left at the end of the buying phase as such, you then lose the cost that you set for that, so you're effectively buying that tile
you get the
from
tile, but
yourself.
you lose the
You
gold.
pay the price,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is nice. That's a wonderful, wonderful balancing mechanism. I really like that.
Yeah.
It's
Aye,
brilliant.
It's
And
really good.
conversely, if somebody buys one of your tiles, then you get the money straight away.
Aye, which is awesome.
And you get to keep the price you set for it, so you're doubling your money there.
Yeah.
Aye.
If
It's-
somebody buys something for you.
Sorry, G, you were going to say something?
No, I've lost my...
You lost your train of thought.
Yeah, I had it and I lost it. I'll come back to it.
But
Those-
as far as Kennerspiel winners go, it's got all the hallmarks of it. Easy to teach, easy to learn. But the kicker, the sort of real twist on it for me is not the auction mechanic, as it were, but more the set of four to five, four randomly drawn tiles that determine the scoring at the end of every round, and those are always scored twice every game. Each ABC 3 times altogether.
Yeah.
Yep.
3 altogether. Wow. So those 4 randomly drawn tiles also determine the market value in a lot of ways, or like they at least determine the value or the expense of every tile that correlates to that scoring.
Yeah, like say one of the victory point condition tiles was 1 victory point for every sheep.
Yep.
That means in the auction phase, tiles with sheep on them
Are gonna be
more expensive than tiles without sheep on them.
Exactly.
If that tile is getting scored this round, on that round.
It
Then
gets
it's
even.
going to drive the price up.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's super clever. It really is.
And just the whole cycle of the victory point or the scoring conditions is just magic.
Who designed it?
Andreas
Right.
Alexander Pfister and Andreas Pelikan.
Okay. I'm just wondering what else they've done actually, because it's
There are no names I've really heard, to be honest.
likewise. I've never heard of them before. But man, they've come out. If they've not done anything else before, they've come out of the blue and made a tremendously good game.
Aye. And it only takes about an hour.
Yep.
Aye,
No
because
word of a lie
that's,
either. It's
Aye.
like it's actually about an hour.
Yesterday was pretty much bang on. No? I was saying
Which is
earlier,
amazing for like a euro as deep as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were
Like
saying?
I was saying earlier when we were speaking about Isle Skye, I love that everything is so random. It's no, like you can't go away and plan how you're going to play the next game. You can't go and like analyse and fix what you did wrong or anything else. You can't necessarily do that because you can't work out what your strategy is going to be exactly until you've got that full information sitting in front of you,
Aye.
which
Yep.
is really cool. You can't go min-max it.
Aye, totally.
Min-maxing.
You
I remember.
can't go min-maxing.
They've designed quite a few. A lot of games that were actually nominated for the Spiel, like Broom Service and stuff like that. So that they're not first-time designers.
Cool.
But they're what they have designed has been very well received. By the
Cool.
looks of it here,
Excellent.
it's a tremendous bloody game. It's Mayfair Games, and a really weird high production. Like it's beautifully well.
Aye, the production
produced,
value
like-
is
Yeah.
outstanding.
Yeah, it's gorgeous looking.
It's outlandish.
Outlandish. Oh, that's an old in joke. That one.
That's back for WoW.
Yeah.
But I can't recommend Isle of Skye highly enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're even remotely interested in it, go buy it.
Yeah.
It's absolutely worth it.
So what about that versus Pandemic Legacy for the Spiel? The £500 gorilla in the room.
Well,
Oh,
what was Pandemic Legacy up for the Kenner
The
Spiel?
3 Kenner Spiel nominees for this year were Isle of Skye, Pandemic Legacy, and Time Stories.
Well, we
Well-
played 2 out of those 3.
Yeah,
I don't really know
You can
much
buy
about.
Time Stories if you want that.
I don't really know much about Time Stories.
it's really hard to put Legacy against anything
Yeah.
because
Well,
it's such a different thing within itself.
I thought the Kenner Spiel was more geared towards kind of heavier Euro games.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Well, in that case, I think Isle of Skye was the right choice to win.
I mean, for me, the experience of Pandemic Legacy was
Aye.
unlike anything I've ever played and
agree.
probably will play again.
I totally
Yeah.
agree.
But especially playing it with you four, with you 3 guys was just one of the it was one of the best times I've ever had playing games, let alone playing a
I'm
game I
excited
really liked.
for me.
Oh,
Yeah.
for
We
every
were
game.
like children at Christmas. Aye.
Yep.
It was amazing.
Well, just one more before we call it a night. One more like covering half a year in the space of a night. Like, we were buzzing.
Yeah, because it was just mind blowing, and that's always I see a lot of people turn away from that sort of phrase where it's like, oh, it was where people don't. I've noticed a trend now, especially kind of younger people, where it's like they don't want to allow themselves to love something, where it's like they don't want
They're
to.
too cool for it.
Too cool to actually appreciate something and let
What
themselves be
else?
taken away. It's
What else?
blasé indifference where it's like non-committal, like I don't actually
Aye.
care about anything. But for God's sake, allow yourself to be swept up in something like Pandemic Legacy, where it's
Why
just
not?
amazing. I think
Yeah.
I agree with you though, Ross, on Isle of Skye being the better choice for the Kenner Spiel.
Aye.
To me, Pandemic Legacy was not a family game. in the same regard that Isle of Skye is. And a lot of the time, we've mentioned it on the podcast before, a lot of the time with the spiel, they want to nominate and award a game that is going to be sitting around on your shelf, playable for years to come.
Yeah.
Whereas Pandemic Legacy and Time Stories are not those.
Yeah,
They're decidedly not those. You know, in their design ethos, they are not going for.
Which also makes them very special.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
for that.
Yeah.
But
I would love to play Time Stories. I haven't played it yet, but if it's, I mean, for 3 games like that, if Pandemic Legacy is anything to go by, and Isle of Skye is anything to go by,
Time
then
Stories must be
it
pretty fucking good.
It must be pretty bloody good. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm more than willing to give it a shot, but it's extraordinarily expensive. It's very cost prohibitive.
Yeah, for
Aye,
a
and
one-time
it's like
story through.
30
Yeah.
quid per module for it or
Yep.
something?
Aye,
I see. And every module's playable only once?
more or less.
so
Yeah.
they're a U-boat Isle of Skye.
I bought it for
35
at a common ground.
And the replayability,
Aye,
even
I'll
just
be-
through the
aye.
random element, no as much as no for us like getting right into it and
Yep.
stuff. Even
Yep.
just the random element
Aye,
and the
aye,
replayability
totally.
is amazing.
And that's one of the, just going back to your point earlier, Kayleigh, like when you're saying you can't master it, like you can't.
You
Well,
can.
you can to a degree, but you're always going to be doing something different, and that's what's
Aye.
really cool about
Aye,
it.
every
It's like-
every game will be different.
It's not like Dominion where you can go and like math combinations
Yep.
of stuff. Like you can't do that because there's
Aye,
no,
you-
all the information's not there. You don't know what it's going to be.
yeah, you don't know
Before
till
you
you
sit
set it
down,
up.
aye.
Yeah.
And
That's
then there
incredible.
you've got to go, right, I need to think. What do I need?
Right. And you, right, and you're not going to let me get any of these, are you? Right, so...
So does it replace Carcassonne?
No, I think they're quite
that-
different.
Aye.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It
so
doesn't
too.
replace, it's a nice addition to the shelf right next to it.
Well, if Carcassonne is up for discussion and there's more than 2 people, I'll
Yeah.
suggest Isle of Skye.
Aye.
Because it's just not... Carcassonne's just not great with more than 2 players, really. Like,
No.
Carcassonne's lovely with like a cup of coffee and a donut and
Yeah.
like a lazy Sunday afternoon.
Incidentally, you can check out my review of Carcassonne on www.maplesanonymous.co.uk/blog.
Ding, ding. I don't think I've ever played Carcassonne as a 2-player. It's mostly been 3s and 4s.
Oh, it's
Better as
lovely,
a
G.
2.
Aye,
I mean,
2-player is the way to play it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm up for giving it a shot, but I mean, I'm still happy to play it at 3 and 4 player levels.
Really nice at 2.
It's not that long a wait between it. Like, you pick a tile, you place a tile.
Oh, it's not. It's
place
not
a
that it's
meeple.
a long wait at all. It's not. It's not about how long it takes for your turn to come back round. It's actually about the distribution of tiles, because it's a 50-50 split right down the middle. So
Yeah,
Aye, there's
you're-
actually a lot more you can accomplish
Yeah.
in a 2-player
it's
game.
a much more strategic game with 2 players as opposed to
Alright.
with 3 to 4 or God forbid 5, which is just an awful experience and no one should ever do it. Don't ever play Carcassonne with 5 players. It's terrible.
There is a host of
Don't
expansions
Carcassonne with 5.
for Carcassonne.
There
It's
Oh, aye, a
ridiculous.
host of them.
It's actually a bit much. Like,
Aye,
there's
totally.
standalone games as well.
Aye, there's standalone expansions and there's mini expansions and
Can you think how
tons.
much of the table if you'd played with like
All
if you
the
played with all the
expansions.
expansions, you'd need a full room.
I think
like
they're-
an ice rink.
I think
That'd be
they're
great.
all actually compatible, all the expansions.
Aye.
Wow.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I'd be kind of.
But I think you can play them in any combination you want,
All right.
which is quite cool.
That would be interesting. I know some of them use desert sides and things like that.
Aye,
like
and some of them
like Gold Rush
like-
and
High seas and stuff like
Aye.
that. It's just islands and.
Seven Seas. I think it's
Aye,
called. I'd buy that too.
Aye, totally.
Yeah.
I'd like to expand on the Carcassonne thing, but aye, I don't think Isle of Skye replaces it at all.
no,
But
it's more of an iteration, really, isn't it?
aye, well, it's just
It shares
Aye,
the
it's-
tile laying qualities. That's... Yeah.
it's like having a mini Carcassonne in front of every player,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
That's
with a-
nicely
with a-
embellished.
aye, well, a much bigger overarching game
Yeah.
around it.
Well, with arguably a better game around
Aye,
it.
hands down.
Arguably.
Hands down, I say. Hands down, I say.
Hands down.
No, I'm never
but-
up.
I'll still happily play Carcassonne. It's,
Oh, aye.
Yeah.
They're both very different experiences, and they're
Yeah.
both fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to play Carcassonne, you would probably play it with 2.
Yeah.
So, You know, I don't think... Can you play Isle of Skye with 2?
Aye.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wonder what that's like then.
So, we were going to try the other night, but we didn't have time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm totally into it.
I'll give it a shot and tell us what it's like, because that's going to be an
It's
interesting...
quite funny, like, going to buy that for you, and I'm going to buy that for you.
Yeah. I think that's where it will be a bit odd.
Aye.
But hey, if there's a way to do it, there's a way to do it. So
Aye. Must work somehow.
I'm into trying it.
cool. Report back.
We
Aye,
shall.
totally. Aye.
Aye, stay tuned for next week to find out the results.
Same bad time.
Same bad channel.
Same bad jokes.
On that note, let's move on to the main quest.
I cannot blame you, dear Colin. It is a most impressive quest.
Every day I stand in awe of your most mighty quest. I've seen its requirements bring tears to the eyes of lesser men. Will you ever tell me what you're questing for?
How dare you, Colin? A man's quest is his own private kingdom. I shall defend it with my life.
Is that why you asked that barmaid if she wanted to say it?
I can assure you, Colin, what I was going to show her was not the main quest.
Winning and losing.
You gave that a nice bass slide.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Aye, so winning and losing games, does it really matter to you guys?
Well,
Sometimes.
I think there's a bit more to it than does it really matter.
Well, I mean,
it's not a binary answer, really.
It's no yes it matters or no it doesn't. I think there's a lot more to it.
I think it depends on how much you invest in the game. You know, like if you get really invested into a strategy and you work really hard on it, then it can be gutting when somebody just takes it.
Aye,
And
but
I would
then-
be upset if I didn't win then.
Aye, but then you need to look at your strategy and you need to learn for it.
Well, aye.
Don't
But
get
if I-
upset, because then you're not going to learn anything.
No. But if you listen,
You getting salty with me?
I mean, if you reckon that you're doing pretty well
Aye.
and you've got a good thing going, then I would be upset if I didn't do as well as I'd hoped.
I feel usually in the kind of games where you've got some kind of strategy that you're really investing yourself in, there's usually a visual aid to show you how well you're doing with somebody. So if you think you're doing really well, then you probably are. And for somebody to then take over that is because you've done something no so well.
Yeah,
I suppose.
probably
You've
made a
made a
mistake or
mistake.
something, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then you need to look at your strategy.
Brilliant.
Aye.
Well, I mean, like it's written in the show notes, it's really just what the hobby is.
Very like it, show notes.
The whole game is based around the whole idea of gaming is based around winning and losing. You know,
Well, aye.
every game has
Yeah.
has the concept of loss and
Yeah.
gain. So it's one of the things that can actually make a night what it is. Like when we won Pandemic Legacy, that was amazing.
Yeah!
Aye.
That felt amazing.
Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, that was the Eiffel Tower to end all Eiffel Towers.
There was much rejoicing.
And not in the kind of, not in the sarcastic Monty Python way. It was not like we were going to crack
There
a
was
bottle of champagne.
Actually, much rejoicing.
It really was.
We
Yeah.
genuinely saved the world.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that when we bring new players into the hobby, that if they're not prepared for it or they don't cope with it terribly well, then it can actually take a really good night and make it a crap night. So it's not just about how we feel about it; it's about how other people deal with losing. For me, I don't care if I win or lose. I'm there to have fun, and if I do, I'm not there for the winning. I'm there for my friends and for my games.
Well, aye.
You know,
Aye.
I'm there for the journey. And if I win, fucking
Awesome.
bonus. But,
Aye, you try your best, but
Yeah.
if you
Aye.
lose, then it's not the end of the world.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna throw the game. I'm
No, it's
gonna.
all-
You
a
always
table
play
flip.
to win.
Yeah.
You always play to win, but doesn't
Aye, but-
necessarily mean it's the be all and end all if you don't. Like, you play the game to the strategy you're meant to,
Yeah.
to the best of your ability, most of the time. And,
Yeah.
And hope for the best. If somebody does it better, then way to go them.
Oh yeah. Which is not to say though that there haven't been times where losing has
totally.
really, really hurt, like where it's actually been a borderline offensive. Like,
I remember like it must have been the 15th game in the lab, and we hadn't beat it yet.
oh god.
Yeah.
And I think it was like the last game we had played for a while afterwards. And when we lost that, it was just like, fuck's sake, man.
Yeah, what
What
can
the
we
fuck
even-
do we have to do?
Yeah. What can we do? Because
Aye.
we've tried everything.
And we just couldn't do it.
No.
Yeah, Satan, here's my soul. Just let us win a game.
There was just this block with that particular game that stopped us winning for a really long time. But it never really stopped us from coming back to it permanently.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
totally.
there was definitely after that 15th game where it was like, I'd rather not for a wee while. I'm kind of good. I've kind of felt like I've just been beating my head off this wall for a wee while, and but yeah, I mean, there's that sweet spot though with a cooperative game. It's very different from that to a competitive game, where you want to win. You want there to be some degree of hope when you're playing a cooperative game.
Yeah.
And in the lab, after that long stretch where we just had no chance and we were getting killed in the first couple of turns and stuff, it just felt like, well, if you're just going to beat me every time, then what's the point in even playing?
It's really fun.
See,
Yeah.
at first though, that made me want to play it more.
This is getting to my point.
That
is
really slows down.
Well, it does encourage you to a point, and then after a while, it's like, well, why should I even try? Because you're just gonna win. Like you've rigged this game to the point where it's not even feasible for really knowledgeable players to beat the game, and that's for there to be no hope of a win is unfun. But to have a smallest glimmer of hope is all the motivation you need to get through it and actually learn the game. Like Pandemic felt like the impossible challenge for so long, and we struggled with it. We did before we actually beat the game the first time.
Yeah.
And when we did, we felt amazing because it was a hard fought for victory, and we felt like we deserved it.
Aye, totally.
We did.
It
Yeah.
took us playing through Pandemic Legacy to then go back and beat it, didn't it?
Beat in the lab, yeah.
Aye.
Yeah.
I went to play all of Pandemic Legacy just to beat Pandemic in the lab. Yeah. But I mean, winning does matter to me in some games. Like it really does. Like
I wonder what game that could be. Can you think of anything?
Could that
There's
be a
one
farming
that-
game?
Begins with an A.
There's one that's today with a cola factory.
Aye, the Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's that one, but I don't know. Who cares?
it does matter to me if I win Agricola.
So, is it the fact that you've got a streak gone?
I think it's more the streak than no. It's actually because Agricola is near perfect information, and there's so little randomness in it, and I feel like I know that game well enough that I can play several different strategies and always win because I've played it on single player a lot. So I it's not that I feel like if I lost that game, it's a fault in the design, right? No, I don't mean it because I'm so bloody good at the game. I mean it's because an experienced player in a game of perfect information should always win. Like in a game of chess, the master should always win, like as opposed to the first time novice.
Yeah.
You know that shouldn't actually happen. So like it's. I would have to say, like, if there was that kind of loss, like a really devastating loss where it was just like I was getting humped for the whole game of Agricola, then I'd be like, all right, well, that was random card draw, and it wasn't a fault of my decision making because I know what the good decisions are and when to make them. So, and if I'm executing those decisions that are good, because there is a difference in Agricola between a good decision and a bad decision, like, and they're very clear cut, and it's not about being skilled as a gamer or being talented in any way. It's about having played them enough to know that those are the good choices.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You know, it's not about, it's not about that whole idea of the competitive nature of sport being the better player always wins. It's about the player who does know the game a little more should win, and that's kind of fair, I think. You know, I mean, we've all had that experience when we play a game with somebody for the first time and they just absolutely own us, and you
Right.
feel like, well, what the fuck? Like, I know this game inside and out, And it was always something like Munchkin because it is so random, and you're like, oh well, it was beginner's luck because there's no real mastery of system in the game. Whereas in Agricola, that would really hurt because it was like, well, you have no idea what those good decisions are, and you kind of just fluked it. Like, you know, that I think that hurts more than when somebody who's really making good decisions and really smart, informed decisions. I think that's really difficult to feel bad about because why should you? The better player won, you know.
Oh, I never feel bad about losing Agricola to any of you guys. I get way too emotionally invested, and I just have a terribly fun time, sweating, and I don't make good decisions because I'm being rash. I'm like, I need to feed people. Shit, wood will help us.
You can't eat wood.
Watches.
So if I was to beat you at Agricola by kind of fluking away or making decisions that I haven't really thought about but end up being good decisions for my side.
That would actually hurt because that's not you being good at the game or make it or actually even strategically engaging with the game in any kind of way. That's just you flicking it out, and that's like, well, I could literally just play against a bean or a robot that all it does is just put a little disc on the spots and take the actions. You know, there needs to be that competitive edge, or loss doesn't feel, or loss just feels like it's pointless and that the game's pointless and that there's no contest there. Some games are contests. You know?
I totally agree with that. Like even Dominion, like I think with the four of us, especially, we've played Dominion a lot. So whenever I get beat at Dominion, it's usually because like the other person played
a better game.
And that's like that doesn't affect me negatively at all. It's just like, oh, well done.
No, I never.
Shall we play another?
Yeah, I never feel bad about losing Dominion because 9 times out of 10 when I am, it's because I made a poor decision. And I can probably pinpoint when it was and be like, oh crap, that ruined the whole game. My whole game hinged on that one turn, and I buggered it up. So I don't feel bad about it because it was my mistake.
It was like Power Grid last night. There was that massive bidding war we had for that free energy. That's what really fucked me over.
Yeah, I deliberately drove the price up on that. I had no interest in that power plant at all. I was deliberately trying to bankrupt you.
Yeah, he didn't quite bankrupt me, but when I looked at it closer, I'm like, no, that was a big mistake.
But that's where strategy is really important to the kind of feeling of accomplishment when you win a game. Like, so I think even in Hive is a great example of because it's an abstract strategy, perfect information, no luck. You feel like you're being bested when somebody's beating you, and it's because they've played a better game. So I don't feel bad about it. I just kind of feel like, I've got to go away and actually learn a bit more about the game and how these things interact. And that's the interesting journey with a kind of abstract strategy game. Whereas something like Catan, you can have the best strategy in the world and those dice aren't rolling your way. You're just screwed. So that's an inherently frustrating thing as well, where it's, you're not making poor decisions, you're not making bad judgments. You're just constantly being battered about the head by probability, and that feels like it just feels ineffectual and unfun.
That can be really frustrating.
Rivals has got that too, but to a lesser extent.
Definitely to a lesser degree.
But Catan can be, Settlers especially can be really, really frustrating at times, especially if the dice are just no going your way and nobody's going to trade with you. Because you've got to a certain point. And you're building.
Typically about 7 points or something.
And then just nobody does trade with you.
It's like you get to that point, everything's gone alright, and then it's just like a standstill. But it, like you said, it's no anything to do with your strategy. It's just probability and it's just the game. But that's kind of on the flip side, that can be the fun of the game, is trying to work around that. Turn to development guilds, or there is means there to work around
Play to what you've got.
Aye.
Well, this is exactly it, and it's. I mean, there's loss aversion theory, which I was looking at, kind of prepping for this, and why a loss feels more devastating than a win. Like if you give somebody the same, like if you give somebody a gift of an orange and go, oh, there you go, that's a gift, and you take the same orange, or like an orange of the same weight or and the same quality away from somebody, the person who received the orange doesn't feel in the same kind of quantifiably bad way, conversely good. You know, he doesn't feel the same degree of good as the person who had the orange removed from them bad, if you follow, right?
Yeah.
So the loss in and of itself is this really powerful emotion that is actually more powerful than the success of winning. So it can actually be really hurtful when you lose something like Catan because of probability, because you feel like you put all you could into it and you get no return.
Yeah.
So you actually feel a real loss there, a genuine loss, because you've just exerted so much energy and so much time for nothing in return.
I think as seasoned gamers though, and like you said, I don't think any has come here specifically to play games and win games.
No.
Like we come to spend time, so I think through experience, like a loss it's not really a biggie.
Aye. No, I just mean like for a lot of people, I can understand where they're coming
totally.
from when they get a bit salty over a loss or something, and it's like, well, you put everything into it, but it just didn't go your way. It's just sometimes it's just dice and
You
just
win some,
probability.
you lose
It's the nature of the hobby. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose, isn't it?
Yeah, and you don't ever really have to feel bad about it. I mean, like winning Pandemic always feels deserved. Like it always feels like you deserved it, even though
Unless you're Ross and you're like, Steven Epidemics, what?
fucking too easy.
Too easy.
Too easy.
Right, somebody
Never
shove him in the
hard
corner.
Yeah.
Aye.
Like bring
I
out
do
all
like-
3 copies that we own, just put all the Epidemics in.
Yeah.
It'll still be too easy for you, honey.
I just
Yeah,
like
just-
a really tough game of Pandemic.
But then that goes back
Yeah.
to what Skye was saying about the hope. There's that we're probably gonna lose, but there's that wee glimmer of hope, and there's that fight for it. I think that's what you enjoy more.
Aye, you're totally right.
Oh yeah, I think the most exciting moment you can have in Pandemic is the last turn, the last round of the game, where everybody goes, right, we've worked it out and we're gonna die. Then we need to do this before we die.
Aye, totally.
You know?
And you math it to fuck,
Yeah.
and somebody then comes up with like just the perfect strategy. We can do it.
Yeah.
Like
Before
there's
the
gonna be
last
one
turn,
kill left in that pile, but we can do this.
It's possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we've sat for half an hour just to work this last little bit out. We're gonna
We've
get it.
done
We're
it,
gonna
aye.
get it.
Oh yeah.
We've done
And
it.
then probability's got a chance of screwing us.
Well, that's what makes the turnover of those cards really dramatic and really
yeah.
exciting as well.
Absolutely.
So I don't ever feel like Pandemic. Some expansions in the lab felt like it was just like
Aye, all the time,
we
constant.
were just getting slapped about,
And
and
laughing at us.
yeah, like ghost stories can be a bit like that too sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's always fun to play.
Yeah.
But
if we've had time off for ghost stories,
Yeah.
it takes us a few games to get really back into it, to warm up.
yeah, get back into the kind of the wee tricks we knew,
Aye.
and like what strategies are good and where we need to go, and
Getting those fucking Buddhas on the outside rather than the inside.
yeah.
That's a necessity.
I don't think it really applies to cooperative games, but in competitive games, would you say exposure to like loss would lessen that negative feeling over time?
I don't know. I mean, I watched a documentary about the Magic Pro Tour a while ago, a couple of months ago now, and in fact it was nearly a year ago. But they were following a guy who'd eventually lost the Pro Tour, and he was clearly devastated. And that's a guy who probably plays a lot of games of Magic every week. So I don't know. I think overall it probably does. I think there is a desensitization that goes on there,
Yeah.
to some degree. But when the stakes are high enough, I think it's even harder on you.
Yeah.
But I think it just depends on.
I
like,
suppose
if you
like
then-
tournament play and stuff.
Aye,
Yeah.
you throw that into the mix, then
That's
that becomes your life. You become encompassed.
that's all
Yeah.
sorts of external pressure on you and stuff.
He's no playing to have a good time with
No.
his pals. He's playing like competitive.
It's no
different.
recreation
Aye.
to like somebody like that.
But we used to have like proper shouting matches because of Munchkin and stuff. Like,
Well, aye.
but that was
Aye.
part of the fun, though. We weren't. We
Aye,
were kind of
totally.
more hamming that up than really
Aye,
properly.
it never got like really aggressive or anything.
No, I
It's
don't know.
No real
It
weapons
got
were ever
heated.
drawn.
I'm sure it's got very heated, but I don't think I've ever seen.
Maybe to the outside
Anybody-
looking in, it would look really heated, but to us, it was more like this is just.
banter.
It's
Kind
just
of
us.
banter, aye.
Yeah, it's,
Did Derek and Jess know like properly fought one night over a loss at Avalon? Was it Avalon?
Yeah.
No, she wouldn't help him in Munchkin.
That,
Aye, that's it,
right.
aye.
She wouldn't
yeah.
help him in Munchkin, and then
Derek was
he didn't win.
absolutely
Aye,
fuming.
and like marriage is genuinely almost broken.
Aye.
That was fun. But no, I remember. I mean, there's to some players, some players winning feel worse to you than others.
Oh, aye. We all hate it when G wins.
Why?
Because
know.
you take some bizarre. I don't know what it is, man.
What?
I have no. I don't know. I think it's just like how much pride you take in it. I think it's like you engage.
Yeah, smug wee face.
Crichton smug mode.
Oh, come on. That is, just sitting there going, that's nice compared to the posing routine you used to come up with.
That was just funny.
He was doing that earlier.
Yeah, at least I don't go through a terrible layer, complete
Ross.
pose set.
Ross used to flex. Like extensive flexing
Hulk
of the
Hogan
muscles
Yeah,
flexing.
the entire
Aye,
routine.
proper.
if he won.
Yeah.
If I won Munchkin.
If you want anything.
Aye, that's true.
Yeah.
I wasn't a
Aye,
complainer.
but it was funny. That's why I did it.
It was funny the first few times.
It was funny to me every other time.
And only you.
Just because it was annoying you guys.
But there is something great fun about rubbing somebody's face in it.
I think that's like just the kind of spirit of Munchkin.
Yeah.
Aye.
Like, haha, I won. Get it obvious.
It's that kind of, I get yourself to fuck, you know,
Aye.
like, I won.
Yeah, I won. Losers.
But,
That's something I very rarely feel when I'm playing. And like when I win, it's like get it up. It's only been once or twice I really felt
Aye,
like that.
I don't mean
oh, no,
that in a kind of serious way. It's
No,
just
it's
like
not.
haha, get it obvious.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's not a genuine get fucked, I won. It's more of a, like, haha.
Aye.
It's a jokey, laughy fun. But no, I mean, when we did the flick 'em up shoot, and did the Ric Flair, woo, and afterwards, it was only because at the beginning of the game you were like, I'm just going to beat you. I'm just going to beat you. And you're just going to lose. And I was like, well, probably because it's established that I'm rubbish at flick 'em up, and I'm fine with that. But, you know, when there's always that great fun, and you didn't take it personally, I don't think. But,
no, of course not.
And I was partly just hamming it up as well. So it's,
Aye, it's all just part of the fun. Like, as long as you don't go too far, I think. Celebrating a wee bit's alright.
Especially in games like Munchkin and Flick 'em Up that are really light-hearted.
yeah.
Aye,
You're
totally.
like, when you're shooting each other and Flick 'em Up, and Munchkin's just for dick moves, so it just kind of continues through. It's the whole like feeling of the game.
Yeah.
And a wee bit of flexing, like hardly compares to something like football, where like folk go and do like
Klinsmans.
clansmans and flips and
Yeah.
tumble the crayons and all that.
Sorry, you just make me think of the beginning of basketball.
It's just a big.
Aye, exactly.
basketball.
That's exactly what I mean.
The spectacle's more than the sport.
Well, I mean, that's what wrestling is. You know, it's the whole idea of just like parading round after you've won is like, really? Like,
Aye, totally.
you're really that arrogant? Like, but hey ho, that's the way they present it, and it's but
But it's just kind of fun to emulate that in a jokey way.
yeah, as long as you don't mean it.
Aye,
it's
and in a
fine.
comfortable setting where it's kind of safe to say you're not going to offend any of
Aye,
us.
if you're surrounded with your pals, then
Well, we're kind of thick-skinned anyway for the most part. So.
I was offended by you imitating Hulk Hogan.
I wasn't imitating Hulk Hogan. I was
you
just
were.
flexing like him.
Well, that's
Well,
imitating him.
Everybody boulder flexes like that. Hulk Hogan didn't he?
You
Patent
did
it.
the routine, man. You did the routine. You did to the log.
You went a full Hulkamania.
Yeah.
I'm sure I might
And
have
you
a
never
couple
go
of times.
full Hulkamania.
You never go full Hulk.
No, brother. I'll tell you this, brother. Don't do it.
No, I don't go full Hulk. So, I mean, whenever you win, though, G, there's always this kind of, I have bested you. And it's not even, I don't know, I very much doubt that you mean it.
I'm not even conscious now.
I don't think so, but it's an aura, it's a presence you give off with this, like, this self-satisfied
It's like a smell.
superiority.
It's like a G1 stink.
Yeah, yeah.
Aye, like I can smell your
Victory.
smugness.
It's the smell of victory. Yeah.
That smell, that G smell?
But I tend to get just really embarrassed, especially if it's something that's like heavy, like Power Grid. I felt like last night, when I won Power Grid last night, I felt really pleased that I'd won, but I felt super embarrassed because all the rest of the guys I felt like they might have worked a little bit more on their arithmetic, where I was really just kind of trying to feel out the auctions, and my strategy was more aimed at the kind of playing up human emotions aspect of it than the real numerical side of it. So I kind of felt like because I'd looked at the game in a very different way, I'd maybe an upper hand that they didn't have.
Right.
Like, so even something like Archipelago, where there's a huge engine building aspect to that game, but the social aspect is not to be denied because you can really work that to your own advantage if you do it right. So if you look at the game in that kind of social way, as opposed to somebody else who looks at it in a very mathematical, numerical way, then you might have the upper hand on them because they're just working on how to make sums work.
Yeah.
And you're working on a completely different level where it's like, you might be doing the maths for me, but I'm going to reap the rewards of your maths.
Aye, I guess so. Well, obviously I've not played Power Grid, so I can't really comment on that, but I suppose you can. What I'm saying is, I don't think it's too much an advantage either way. I think either side has an advantage there.
Yeah.
Like, you can go like full math into a game and
He's going full man.
and have the advantage over somebody that's maybe playing on the social aspect of it.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. I think it works either way.
Yeah.
It just depends on how you execute it.
I could probably agree with that. Yeah. And that, I suppose that means that kind of brings me to that idea. Like, I mean, have you ever played a game where you felt like where you won and you just felt like you didn't deserve to win?
Aye, plenty.
Yeah.
I definitely felt like that.
Aye, man, sometimes you just win by luck. Sometimes it's earned.
Yep.
Sometimes it ain't.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely feel that when I'm playing something like Attack Wing with Derek, and it's and he's got the best build he's ever made, and he's really thought about what he's doing, and you win just through dice.
Through sheer luck.
Yeah, and you're like, oh man, I'm sorry.
You worked really hard on
I'm
this.
sorry you won. I'm sorry I won. I didn't really want to, because you put so much time into this. Like,
Aye, well, I mean, that's the thing with luck, like with dice in general. You know,
Yeah. You have all the strategy in the world. You can make all the right moves.
if you're rolling dice to hit,
you're boned.
Yeah. That's why you need to have some dice negation. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I can set that one to that. I can re-roll those ones, and I can flip those ones. That's what I need in a build.
aye, but there's still no guarantee of anything.
No.
Nothing's guaranteed.
You're rolling attack dice and you're rolling defense dice. It's
So that begs the question: do you feel victory is more justified, or taking satisfaction in your victory in a Euro game is more rewarding than an Ameritrash game?
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Aye, I would. Aye, without a doubt.
Aye, you work hard
Oh,
you
yeah,
work
yeah.
hard in a Euro game.
Your brain
Not that
is-
you don't work hard in certain Ameritrash games. That's not what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
generally,
Yeah,
to win a Euro, you've got to really put a lot of effort in.
Yeah, your brain's taking over. Like, it's not just this
got-
turn, but it's like, okay, it's
You're
7
planning
turns
it.
down
Ah,
the road.
you've got
ahead,
to
yeah.
invest some brain power in it, and it absolutely feels great when you get rewarded for that.
Get paid off. Yeah,
yeah.
I definitely agree. Like, there's been games of Munchkin where I felt like I just squeaked a victory, and it was really just turn order or luck that won it.
I've
Yeah.
seen that happen.
Yeah.
Just,
It's that point in Munchkin where everybody's at level 10,
Yeah,
and then
person before you, everybody uses their kills to stop them winning. Nothing
then-
left
and
for
then
you.
you're
Generally
yeah.
me.
Yeah,
Aye. It's just luck that somebody else got all the plus 10 monster cards before it got to your turn. And
Yeah.
then you can just take it. Because nobody's got any dick move cards left.
yeah. And saying that though, I do feel really, I do feel like there's a lot of satisfaction to be gleaned from winning a game of Cosmic Encounter,
Oh, yes.
because you've played the smartest table psychology game there normally.
Yes, yes.
Well, Cosmic's a bit deeper
Aye.
again.
'Cause of the
there's
social
that
aspect,
social
yeah.
dynamic aspect, and there is
Your
all that
alien
trading
travels.
and your powers, and there's a fair amount of strategy as well.
Aye,
You know?
there definitely is. There's way more strategy in Cosmic than there is in a lot of American games. In particular, I mean, if I would say if your group's got Munchkin and you're hankering for something else, get Cosmic, because your mind's going to be blown, and it's everything you want Munchkin to be once you've gotten over once you've kind of found your group's niche within Munchkin, and you want to kind of break away from that, get Cosmic, because it's really strong, and there is a deeper element, like you say, to it, Ross.
Aye, but it's still got that fun stabby in the back.
It's
Yeah.
still really dick
element.
movie.
Aye.
No, it's great.
There's a big take that element to it, but it's the take that element's not going to win or lose you the game for the most part.
No, definitely no. But it's just part of the fun.
Aye, definitely.
I'd say it's actually how well you manipulate the other players into helping you or helping you attack or defend.
Definitely.
So it's really a more social game
Yeah.
than Munchkin ever was.
It's much more political, and that's either your cup of tea or it's not. You know, a lot of people don't enjoy table politics and getting really involved with building psychodramas. But that's,
Well, I suppose that aspect of some games are, I suppose, a bit easier to take to heart. Like if somebody just absolutely fucks you over, like makes a deal with you and then stabs you in the back, that can hurt quite a lot.
Aye,
and then
definitely.
It can ruin the rest of your game. Like, no ruin it as in I'm taking my ball and going home, but ruin it like stops you getting points, stops you recovering
Yeah.
for that backstab. You know?
Yeah, I think that's why, like, there can be some, there's some types of games where you don't feel like winning was all that, you know, or even justified to a degree, where you get to the end of the game and you think, yeah, I might have won, but I didn't expend anything, I didn't do anything that was really worth winning, so I've ended up with this. I've ended up with this victory, but really just by proxy or default, which is even worse. Where you just
It kind of be like, it could happen in Night of the Grand Octopus, where I could end up with no tokens, but everybody's just, by chance, ended up in the same room.
Yeah.
And these have all died. No one. And then I'd be like, oh. Cool. That would be it. Like, I wouldn't have much else.
It'd be a hollow victory.
No, but, oh,
Yeah.
cool. I won. But by proxy.
So that's never too much fun. Although
No.
I think there's actually some games that can be a really frustrating experience all the way through, and it hurts even worse because you've had a crap experience all the way through, and you lost. So it's like, I never want to play this again. Most recently,
I was thinking the very same thing.
what are you thinking now?
What Kayleigh just said, Wiz War.
Wiz War.
That describes the last game I had of Wiz War to a T.
I was going to suggest that it actually described Ross's last game as Stone Age, and it was just like,
Do you never want to play Stone Age again?
Oh no.
No, I know that.
I totally might play Stone Age again, but I had a really rough game, and it was
Oh,
odd
yeah.
into dice rolls.
yeah.
Like
That's
I
what
rolled 3 1s on 3d6,
Yeah,
Which
Mutant
was
Snake
just
Eyes.
awful.
3 or 4 times
Yeah.
Which is
throughout the game.
statistically it just shouldn't happen,
I
but
know,
dice
it was
being
just-
It's
dice.
it's dice. It does
It was just an awful game. I managed to, like, the whole rest of my strategy was fucking dead
It
on.
was alright, aye.
I had hundreds of the civilization cards. It was alright.
That was like
Take so long.
that was just like a water mine. You were just like, aye, and I was saying to the guy, and I was saying, you want a bit of Bovril, what you're putting on water, what?
I felt like I was doing really well in that game, but the dice were just fucking me. It was horrible. It was really frustrating. But it's dice. Them's the bones.
Yeah, you just
Damn,
gotta
it's
Literally.
you gotta grin and bear it sometimes, I think. And
But it doesn't make me want to no play Stone Age.
well, yeah, it's a great game. You should play
Well,
it.
aye,
It's really
exactly.
good. It's a
I concur.
lighter alternative to Agricola. It works really well. Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's
So,
awesome.
yeah. Apart from that, though, I don't think there's really any more we need to say about it. Really.
No, and that kind of wraps it up nicely. I think that's all we've got time for this week.
Cool.
Yeah.
So everybody, please check out the website www.maplesanon.co.uk. Follow us on Twitter @MapleSanon, like us on Facebook, subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and all the other shit.
Yep. Pimp your ride. Or
Yeah.
something.
Pimp your table.
Pimp your table.
Oh, we're so close.
Yeah.
We're so close to finishing
It's
this
looking
table.
amazing.
It is.
It's gorgeous.
Aye, me and Andy have been putting in quite a lot of work.
She's got some flimsy legs yet, but
Oh, she's going to have some cracking legs.
Gorgeous.
yeah.
Some Stacey Keebler legs.
No, mere kind of short, stumpy,
Like me.
dwarven legs.
Like me, honey. I've got,
No,
I've
you
got
know
wee
the
short, stumpy legs.
Nah.
Aye.
No, but she's gonna be fucking beautiful.
Yeah, I can't wait. And we're
Hopefully we're gonna get it finished. At least a playable surface in the house this month.
Yay! By this month, do you mean this calendar month or just within the next month?
Let's say within the next month.
Okay. Give yourself some wiggle room. I understand.
totally.
Before we get married, for sure.
Aye. Sure. Aye, totally. What's next month? September. Aye, we're cool. Aye. Awesome. So thanks for listening, everybody. Until next time, happy gaming.
Happy gaming.
Happy gaming. It's happy gaming time.
Gaming.
All right.
Happy gaming.
Happy gaming.
Happy gaming.
Happy gaming.
Happy gaming. Happy gaming, everybody.